Hello, my name is Nelson. This video is for the hands-on knowledge workers wanting to gain the additional analytical skills for building a great mission-critical system. Deployment was our 8th topic of this series. This is the 9th and the last. The next series will be hands-on technical training. In this short video, we shall investigate how to manage system changes and how Rintagi platform can embrace some of these changes with change on the fly and late change no penalty technology. It is change, continuing change, inevitable change that is the dominant factor in society today. No sensible decision can be made any longer without taking into account not only the world as it is, but the world as it will be. Are these facts or myth? Change in the IT industry is happening at a breakneck pace. Organizations that aren't catching up will be left behind. Every day there are new technologies and innovations that can make business smarter, move faster in response to market conditions, and get an edge on the competition. Let's have an overview of what software changes are and how to categorize them. Then discuss what to do when a change request is received. From there, we shall dive into more details on how to determine urgency and priority of changes, perform cost and benefit analysis, and conduct impact analysis. Finally, how to document those changes. Along the way, we shall see how Rintagi platform managed to automate many of these changes via change on the fly and late change no penalty technology. Let's face it, change is a fact of life. Don't fight it, just embrace it. There are 3 categories and 6 types of changes. The following are maintenance changes that require immediate attention. The most common type is correction, where problems identified that are not doing the right things or not doing it right, or both. Adaptation is about survival. It keeps the existing software running in a changed environment, such as operating system changes or integration changes. It usually does not add any value, but it has to be done. The second category is enhancement changes. These have positive impact on the system and should be implemented when resources are available. There are 2 types here. We have a fast ROI change when the benefit outweighs the costs. There is low impact overall and presents immediate return on investment. Changes can be strategic. Rejuvenation is one of them. This is where long-term benefits outweigh short-term costs, often intangible return on investment. The last category is nice-to-have changes. These are not urgent and should be done only when ample resources are available and the previous 2 categories of changes are well taken care of. Again, there are 2 types here. Refactoring is the type of change that restructures existing computer code without changing external behavior for the benefits of performance or maintainability. Preventive changes enhance existing code to detect and correct potential problems before they become actual problems. This is how we manage a change request. When received, clarify exactly what the request is, confirm the understanding of the request in writing via email or change request form, determine the nature of change with respect to urgency and priority, perform cost and benefit analysis, conduct impact analysis to assess the potential effects on all aspects from both change and don't change perspectives, communicate a summary of the above to team members. Different categories of changes need to be managed differently. Maintenance changes are urgent in nature and must be approved. It is recommended that if a correction change is identified, big or small, it should be fixed right away because it can be the root of many other bugs that will be found along the way. Adaptation is not a choice, it must be done, or there can be consequences. Rintagi automatically takes care of this for the applications it generates. Enhancements need approval and are not urgent. These changes can be considered when all the maintenance changes are taken care of. Fast ROI requires cost and benefits analysis and usually have higher priority than the strategic counterpart because of limited resources and the need to show immediate return on investment. Rintagi's rejuvenation has automated strategic changes. As an example, it has enabled web app to run like native apps on all mobile devices. Nice-to-have changes definitely need approval and are not urgent by nature. In addition, refactoring can be costly and benefits difficult to justify until it is done. In addition, many bugs can be created along the way. It is sometimes equivalent to rewriting the entire system. Rintagi takes care of most refactoring changes. The rest of the hand-coded business rules can be refactored when time permits. Preventive changes is difficult to come by and usually not easy to justify. As you can see, Rintagi has automated many changes in each of these three categories. Cost and benefit analysis is required for enhancement and nice-to-have changes. There are many ways to make changes. Management science has given us a great tool to determine the best changes required to yield the best results. Each change we make is a decision that may lead to many outcomes. Each outcome can be quantified and the value can be defined as benefits minus costs. Since it can never be a sure win, we can estimate a probability less than 100 to each of these outcomes. In this example, the first outcome has a value of $50,000 and a 10% of getting it. So the expected value is only $5,000, whereas the second outcome has a higher expected value of $8,000. After all the possible outcomes are evaluated, the highest expected value will be the path we wish to take to implement this change. Impact analysis is about identifying the potential consequences of a change or not making the change. It is needed only on the custom business rules. Impact analysis is not required on automated changes done by Rintagi because it knows the impact ahead of time before making the change. Rintagi's drag-and-drop development enables changes to be done on the fly, resulting in late change no penalty. To perform impact analysis on the custom business rules, we need to estimate what needs to be modified to accomplish a change, identify the consequences of this change. We may have to stop immediately if the impact is so severe that the change cannot be justified. It is important to determine the total impacts before acting on any of these changes. That way, we can use impact analysis to avoid regression testing. To perform impact analysis, we need the source code. 90% of the source code is generated by Rintagi, and the rest is custom business rules. They spread over 3 tiers. The source code of client and web tiers can be accessed via Visual Studio. The source code of database tier can be accessed via the SQL Server Management Studio. To perform impact analysis for the client and web contents, open the relevant project on Visual Studio. Use the interface on the right to perform global search for all relevant keywords relating to the change on the entire solution. Analyze all potential impacts. To perform impact analysis on the database content, open the SQL Server Management Studio. Use the interface on the right to script all the store procedures, data views, and functions. Perform a simple text search on the resulting script for all the relevant keywords relating to the change. Analyze all potential impacts. There are many ways to document system changes. For example, Visual Studio has integrated Git to provide source control so we know who changed what after the fact. In addition, it may be a good practice to document changes made to a mission-critical production system prior to making the change, especially for enhancements and nice to have which requires approval. We call this a change control form. First, select from one of the 6 types of changes: correction, adaptation, fast ROI, strategic enhancement. refactoring, and preventive changes. Then describe the change briefly, who requested it and when, who approved it and when, who implemented and when. It is completed only when a user has reviewed and signed off on this change. These are the takeaways. Change is inevitable. It is our future. We need to embrace it. Change can be managed via urgency and priority determination, cost and benefit analysis, and impact analysis. Rintagi platform automates many changes by drag and drop, change on the fly, and late change no penalty. These are the references for further reading. Thank you for watching. The next Series B is Practical Immersion, where we will develop a module step by step from scratch using the Rintagi platform. The knowledge acquired shall enable unlimited modules to be created to form a great mission-critical database application that lasts.